Hey, good morning, everyone. And thanks for rejoining us after last week's technology challenges. We had done all the testing, and right when we came on, there was no keyboard, no way to advance our technology. And so my apologies and thank you for rejoining us today for this member orientation. I'm Tasha Davenport. I'm Casbo's CEO, have been in that role for 2 years and prior served with our organization for 10 years. And so have just really enjoyed all of our community here in the school business environment. So thanks again for being here today. I'm going to just jump right in and just a couple logistics as we get started. You will find the presentation posted in chat. You should have already received that as well, but it's posted in chat. We are recording the session so that you can go back if there was anything that you missed, and please feel free to ask any questions and we'll get to those questions towards the end. So today it's my pleasure to just walk you through a few of the really core benefits, the high value benefits that our members have shared with us as to the reason that we have the subscriptions, the reason that we have the renewal. 750 districts have chosen Casbo, and these are what they point to in terms of their high value benefits. And so I'm going to be doing both a PowerPoint, navigating you directly into a few of those key benefits. So just hang on and enjoy the next hour. I'm glad to have this time with you today. All right, jumping right in. Let me make sure my closed caption is off. That's a little distracting. All right, so first, I'd like you to put into chat who you are. What is your name? What's your district? And really just what level of engagement have you had with Casbo? Or is this like you're not even sure what the acronym means, or you're the seasoned veteran and can help us even in the conversation? So that's where I'm going to start. And if you go ahead and do that on my count, 1, 2, 3, let it flow. All right. Gosh, folks from all over the state, thank you. Lots of, okay, some newbies, lots of level 2, sort of somewhat familiar. I see Vince out there, our past president. Good morning, Vince. All right. Wonderful. Well, great. Porterville, I'm from Visalia. Welcome. Well, this is wonderful. It gives me a sense of where you are starting. And so I can kind of adjust the presentation accordingly. But yeah, let's get going. So just a little bit of history. Next year is our 95th year as a membership organization. I'm just so proud to be leading the organization, building upon those that have come before me. And then, hopefully I'll be taking this organization across the 100-year mark, but founded in 1928. And we are known as the membership organization for the school business professionals. And as you see in that waterfall of participation, we have representation certainly of the chief business official. That's sort of where it all started. It certainly has evolved to facilities, finance, purchasing, human resources, payroll, special education's in there, maintenance and operation, transportation, child nutrition, risk management. I'll stop there. I'm sure I missed a couple. I apologize, but we have a huge breadth of support for business services. And the third point is probably one of the most important, and that is that our organization is member driven. And what that means is that the practitioners, such as yourselves, in the roles out in the districts are what drive our priorities. Our members and practitioners are our leaders and our board members. We have 7 sections we'll talk about, and we have boards in each one of those sections. So it's all member-led, the issues that raise to the top, the prioritization of those, sometimes the strategic abandonment of something we're working on that no longer makes sense. You might, relate to that the past couple of years, but the organization is built on the shoulders of those serving in the seat and those best to inform us of our priority work. So we really break down our subscription and our benefits into 3 buckets. That's where I'm going to be driving you today. It's Educate, right? The professional development organization for business services. Advocating, and I want to be really clear about the need for advocacy on a bill by bill level. We'll get to that. We really don't get involved, I'll say, in the politics of things. We really try to focus on the impact of each proposed bill. And with a new legislative group coming in, we will have no shortage of thousands of bills to sort through in the next year. And I want to, call to action on that. And then finally, how do you get the professional networking and support that you need in your role? So our membership types, I'm going to really focus on the first one today. That's the majority of you here, the organizational membership. That is our LEAs, our county offices of education, the CBOs in that capacity, our charter schools, ROP, and our JPAs. Those all qualify for this organizational membership, and that's where I'm going to, again, drive. Our associate members are the businesses that support schools, whether that be from, bleachers and stadiums to software that helps run the business side of the organization. And I will tell you that one category of our associate membership are our partners. And our partners are, all of these companies are more than just logos. They're companies that we interface with on an ongoing basis to really connect the needs of the districts to the businesses that can support that product or service. So really strong relationships there. And of course, we have our wonderful retirees who give back to the organization their skills, knowledge, and wisdom, which we can't get enough of right now, right? So the first things first, you have this presentation, so you can go here yourself. But the first thing I'm going to do is jump out of this presentation and drive you to our website for one of our most important activities right off the go. Is we need folks to fill out their profile. So let me just do this more appropriately. Back to my shared screen. All right. Rid of myself there. Okay. So the first thing right here, I'm on the front page, and you'll see all kinds of messages that we've had some technical upgrades and changes lately. So we're going to try to navigate through that. It never fails when you're trying to do a technology orientation. But here, again, the most important thing is to go log in. That's where these benefits become available to you, is once you have actually logged into the system. So on this tab, I am now showing that I'm logged in. Obviously, my choice is log out. And so that's my first indication that I'm logged in. And the first place that I want to drive you to is this member profile. You see it right up there on the top right, just top right hand of the screen, but left of my logout button is my member profile, which takes me to this page. Again, we've got some system maintenance issues going on, so you don't usually see that message, but here we are today, right? Running live. So why is the profile important? For a number of reasons. First, it helps the entire school business community have awareness of who you are, what district you're in. A lot of times the conversations and the collaboration are happening via, like districts, maybe a neighboring district or a neighboring size, right? And so it's really important to have this information available so that you can actually tap into the communities that we have out there. And also so that you can customize and segment the information that you receive from us, right? And so first, there's just, your basic information. What's your role? I'm going to go into these a little bit out of order, but a few things, your communication preferences, that's where you set up. I only want to hear from you this often on this topic, Casbo, so that we're, not that thorn in your side, letting you know all the things that are going on with our organization. It's also in here that you're, the Casbo membership, right? So this is where you would reach out and find, and I think there are 2,000 pages of contacts out there. Current location, sure. You can see you've got these abilities to filter on accounting, administrative services, by name, by geography in the state. And so an easy way to find those that might be able to support you, or to connect with those that are in our network. So there's your Casbo members, a very valuable resource for you. I'm going to come back to communities here in a moment, but just think of this as your private portal. Any courses that you're taking, maybe you've taken a course outside of Casbo and you want to upload that documentation that you finished that course. You're going to see that again here to add, you would be able to add credits here. So just know that this is your sort of main home page, if you will, for all things relating and interacting between you and Casbo. I will come back to the communities in a moment, but I wanted us to get started with that. Let me just see where I'm going. All right, so this is just my absolute favorite. All right, so get out of here. All right, so one of the top benefits of the district subscription was that all of you on this call have access to our on-demand courses, and those are free to you and everyone in business services, all of the courses, which is a huge change from where we were a couple of years ago. And so when we look at under this Learn and Grow tab, you go to Casbo Online. So let me just jump in here. And these are our on-demand courses. We are going to be in the process of moving to a new learning management system because, we don't have enough change already happening. So we're going to be doing that. But here's what's available to you. You click on the view courses and it takes you to the offering. And what I want to just point out that I think is just so amazing is courses like the 1099 reporting, right? It's $445 for just that one course for just one person if you're not a subscriber to Casbo. But because your districts are, that course you see is free to members, and you advance budgeting, advanced communication skills, and we just go on and on and on, right? So we have both Casbo specific content in here, and we have about 75 courses that are, advanced Excel, basic supervision, communication, just those more generic, I'll call them topics to help strengthen the base. And so very simply, I'll just take 1099 here. No matter if it's free or not, you still have to go through this shopping cart. So it's free to a subscriber. I'm going to go ahead and enroll. Our technology is verifying that you are a subscriber, making sure that we've got the correct pricing on that, if you will. And then just added it to my cart. So what's happening now is I'm receiving an email that I have now have that course available to me. Feel free to load up on as many courses as you'd like. And so now it's going to look a little bit different. When I go back to my, again, Learn and Grow, Casbo Online, I am going to take a look now at my learning portal and should see that class there. I always say should, right, when we're dealing with these things. So that one hasn't quite shown up yet, but it'll be here in a moment. But here are the classes that I've already put into my cart: advanced communication, basic budgeting, right? And as I take these courses here in the middle, right, where it says, whoops, there's nothing here, it's because I'm not taking those courses yet. I've just put them in my cart. And if I were actively starting those courses, then our learning management system is going to tell you how far you are through the course and sort of your progress in that space. So that, again, the Learn and Grow is one of the high value benefits. And think about this perspective right now, you guys. We know that we've got 20% of turnover in all of our school business offices. I've got a local district here that has 200 openings just in nutrition services alone, right? So if we are able to, our organizations are able to, one, use this as a recruitment tool, that as you come on board, a promise that you can make to those candidates, as you come on board, we will make sure that you have training readily available to get you up and running immediately. And we see HR departments across the state building this online work into that first week and 2 weeks. And they're really blending it. Take this course, go talk to your boss, right? And interact, or your lead in that area. So one is a recruitment tool. Folks need to feel like they're supported as they come into these organizations. And then two, as a retention tool. Think about maybe you're sitting in payroll, but you're really drawn to, more of the finance area. What a wonderful way that you can bridge your skills and build your knowledge in preparation for that opening, in that career step. And trust me when I tell you, with all of the turnover, those progressions into that next role are happening rapid fire. On one side, that's great news for you, that you might not have to wait long for that opportunity. But on the other hand, it's really important to make sure that you're as skilled as possible and oriented and learning to jump into those roles, because as people are moving quickly, those skills and that capacity has to be built. So that's, again, just a really high impact area. Okay. Career Center. I'm not going to go through all these, just so you know, that's where you can post your resume. You can look at jobs. Our districts post a lot of jobs there. On the calendar is very obvious. It's what's going on. These are our statewide workshops. I'll go ahead and take a look at it while I'm here. It doesn't hurt to click a button. All right. So this is a lot that's going on right now for us. We'll talk about the CBOs. We have 3 cohorts going across the state trying to keep up with that. Our northern section has an event coming up, a budget basics. This is a live virtual led, not on demand, that we took a look at, and so forth, right? So there's just a lot that, pages and pages of what's being offered in CASBO. You can search by particular topics or your needs. So that's where you're going to find that. Events. This is certainly our conference, CBO Symposium. Those are our big ones coming up. And then again, our 3rd cohort opening on the CBO programs. The next thing I want to talk about that I'm just really just so pleased with the success of these is our professional roundtables. And so these are complimentary. You can see under, accounting is the 4th Tuesday of every month, the CBO roundtable, the 1st and 3rd Fridays. That one is a private one, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But these are practitioner led. There is absolutely no structure unless the practitioner has said, hey, let's bring someone in to talk about this topic. But think about this. You're new to your organization, or you're wanting to achieve that different role. You can go into, again, the online courses, but you can also come here at any time and just pop a question. It's a virtual session, and they come together. The Women in Leadership had 138 on it last time. I think we had 86 on special ed, and folks come together and just say, hey, I've got a question. How is everybody doing X, Y, or Z? Does anyone have a tool that can help me with this topic? I really enjoyed on our last CBO session, someone said, it's my first labor negotiation. And I feel very prepared from the analysis. I feel prepared in terms of our budget, what we can afford, but I am just unprepared for how do I play poker? How do I not let my emotions get the best of me in those difficult situations? And I was just, it was so wonderful to see that CBO community in that example really give very tangible advice for how to navigate that. So you're going to see that in all of these roundtables. Again, human resources, special ed, we just were asked to bring up a special ed data roundtable, and so forth. So we continue to add these in the future. We're adding, I know, facilities, but again, just one more way of tremendous support from your peers and all levels of experience out there that are attending these sessions. So that is, yeah, okay. Let's see. All right, so I think we've covered a bit there. Let's see. I want to jump now to CASBO communities. I think this is another really high value benefit. We have just launched this, so you're not going to see all of these completely active and built out yet, but let me kind of navigate you through this. So CASBO communities are an online way, different than the roundtables. The roundtables are a video call, right? We're all in a Zoom, throwing those questions out there. Again, a lot of times it's just commiserating and supporting emotionally the needs and the burnout from our community. But this is actually just an online community only. And so you can see here all of the different areas that we are, again, just bringing up. The CBO, there's a couple of them that are private, because they like to, you know, talk about some things. And sometimes they're like, hey, is this legal to do my, you know, budget that way? And we like to protect that privacy, that one. And I believe our payroll management is also going to be a private one. But let's just jump in and take a look here. I'm going to jump in at accounting. And so just a few things. One, here at the top, this weekly digest. How often do I want to hear if there's a post in that community? That's where I set that preference. Do I want every single post, or do I just want to take a look at what all took place that past week? You can personalize. Let's take a look. Kay Pugh, she led a roundtable, right? She led that virtual live roundtable where they were all talking about a particular topic, and here is her follow-up. Here are the files mentioned on the accounting roundtable. This is a few weeks ago. The discussion was an overview of special ed maintenance of effort, along with discussion on struggles, strategies of passing this year. So here came some job aids and some tools in support of that particular conversation. So imagine if you're able to dive into one of those conversations and hear what's going on. You come over here, there are your resources. You can certainly just come to this area and post a question. And that's, again, what we're bringing up is who's managing those, who's answering, and how do we get that engagement in the community? But thus far, we've had a really good response to bringing that tool forward. All right, let's see. Let me just catch up on where I am right now. All right. So let me jump over here. Make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, let me take one quick pass here at informed and involved. As I said at the beginning, CASBO is a member-driven organization. And so two major components to that. One is that geographically across the state, we have a presence in 7 sections. And you see this lovely little map there. It tells you what the Shasta Cascades section. And there we are. Then here are all of the counties that are a part of that section. So each section has a board of directors, and they also have what we call professional councils. So if you think of those disciplines that I rattled off at the beginning, a CBO professional council, an accounting professional council, a payroll professional council, those are local practitioners that lead conversations around priority areas, and they also, professional councils, plan section events. We were just up at Shasta section event, a couple hundred folks there last week. And they had just, wonderful topics, all school business related. And each section does a fall event. They'll usually do a holiday, just more of a networking event. And then some do a spring event just ahead of our big annual conference. And so you have section support. If you're new to CASBO, you're new to that role, here is where you're going to find your section and their registrations for any events that they have. And then the other important thing, again, under informed and involved, are these committees and councils. And these are our professional councils. We've got the standing committees, but I'm going to jump down here to the professional councils. There are all of those disciplines that I mentioned. You have a professional council at the local level, and then the chair of that professional council, the one that brings people together, talks about those priority issues, reaches out for presenters. Those local chairs all come together at the state level as well to bring forward the priorities and the problems that we can all solve together through webinars and training courses and certifications. And so, if I click on the Accounting Professional Council, here are the members of that council. So those of you that are, that level one, not quite familiar, these are folks that you can reach out to directly, and they can assist you in navigating the professional council world. Where do you plug in? Maybe you want to do a presentation, right? But these are our professional councils. I do apologize that we pulled the emails off of here. I know it's an extra step, but the spamming, everybody was getting those messages of like, hey, do you have a minute? Can you go get me $1,000 gift certificate? And it was related to us having all that information readily available. So you do have that member lookup as a reminder. Maybe we'll bring it back someday. So that's where we are. Okay. So professional councils, again, a resource for you. And those of you in that number 2, 3 category, you've got that expertise, man, think about being on a professional council and leading that, and really starting, right, to create visibility for yourself and your own career. A lot of it comes out of the professional councils, being a chair of that, presenting in the local section events, and also at our CASBO conference is a great way to build visibility and your leadership capacity in that role. Okay. So we've talked about the CASBO community, the online podcast. We've got an amazing podcast. We do one with West Ed, and that one is budgeting for equity. And then we also have 2 of our officers, Eric Dill and Tina Douglas, that do a podcast. In fact, we're going to go do one in just a couple of weeks. But they are all, again, around school business. I think we've had about 15,000 collectively between all of those, listening. So just another great way to stay connected. And we're so pleased to offer that. All right. I'm going to now jump to advocate and impact. And it's an interesting time to try to navigate this part in terms of the website, because the session is over. There's not a lot of activity, but I think we ended up, as we closed out this session legislatively, with, don't quote me on this, but about 1,100 bills. And so a bill, just in simplest form, right? A bill is an idea someone has to change education, maybe to improve it or to fix something that they think is broken. And so the process, right, is that a bill is created, and then as it passes through, and our advocates have some amazing training. We've got webinars on this. I won't dig into it too much. But as the bill passes through its legislative process, our advocates and the other education management advocates are all looking at those bills for their impact to our environment. So when we think about, late start, let's use that one, right? Late start times. It sounds lovely. Let's let the teenagers sort of decide when they're functioning, a little bit better. But we dig in and look at the transportation services that will be affected by that, especially as we have, the bus shortage, the extracurricular activities, and what's the impact on that. We really just look at the bill and analyze it for its collective impact on all of the business services functions. And I think even a better example that I really appreciated, in fact, again, I'll reference Vince here online from Forecast 5, which is now Frontline. But early on in the COVID environment, the state, this wasn't a bill, but the state was, free testing. We're going to have free testing for all of our districts. And, I think we might all agree that nothing is free. So I reached out to Vince and said, what is the impact of all of these things that need to be in place to receive free, right? And that number came back just an astronomical number that was really going to hit hard on the small districts to have all of that sort of regulation and a person with privacy controls in place to take those tests. And we were able to flip that information just in a number of days back to the state and said, free is going to be incredibly negative impact fiscally to our districts. So we really take that approach. I'm not going to dig a whole lot into this, but I do want to say that around the state, I keep hearing folks go, yeah, I'm just really not into politics, right? We don't support we don't use our advocacy or our resources to be candidate specific. We use our resources to dive deep into, again, 40, 50, 60 bills that could be crushing, right, to the business environment. Or we look for opportunities to sponsor bills that we believe will create efficiency or simplicity, or maybe less regulation, all of those things. That is our advocacy. So we have recently, about 2 months ago, formed an advocacy network at each section. So if even learning about and understanding advocacy, how to analyze a bill, how do you really do that? Who's the author? What's important politically to understand about that author? So if you are interested in that at all, just jump in. There's not a heavy commitment, but what we're doing at the local level, because geographies and advocacy differ. You have different needs at that local level. We're teaching you how to advocate at the local level, and we are also setting up structures by which you can bring your local politicians into your districts, into CASBO, to see what you're doing and help inform them so that they can better support or make better decisions in their policy recommendations. So quickly back to the site, what you're going to see, again, we don't have any campaigns going right now. It's just that timing of the session. But what you would normally see are, here's a major campaign. Our last one was transportation, the electric bus issue, right? Again, sounds great on the surface, but it's not practical in getting, especially in Northern California, our students even to and from events. So we asked for a call to action. And the way this came out is you get an email, it has our talking points on it. Here's why we are opposing this bill. You simply enter your name, your address and zip code, you hit enter, And that same letter populates to your local politicians. And in many cases, as we finish the session, we had the call to action in that case, go to the governor. So literally within 5 minutes, the governor had received like 400 opposition messages, call to action on that particular bill. And the question that folks have asked us, gosh, do they pay attention to those canned responses? And our advocates have worked at the Capitol as staffers. And when they start to see 3 or 4, they're like, we've got to give this attention, right? And so you can advocate in that simplified format by just saying, yes, that would affect us negatively. We're going to also fill out that call to action, and you'll see those get very, very active as we begin the legislative session here in short order. The news breaks, these are all of our summaries in this case. What were the bills that were acted upon? I mean, there were hundreds of vetoes and pushing bills through here at the last end of session of a couple of weeks ago. The 30th was the deadline for that. So you'll see what passed and what didn't. And we look at that. So again, this is just, these come out to you automatically in terms of, on email. And it's your way to keep updated on what's the latest and greatest as things turn here at our state capitol. Okay. So let me just catch up with where I am at. I'm going to jump back over to my presentation real quick here. I can figure that out. Oh, no. All right. All right. So let me just catch up with where we are. I just covered the advocacy. One more thing just to mention there that's so important to that entire discussion is we have a legislative committee made up of practitioners representing, again, the disciplines that we support and the geographies. So that group, our legislative committee, they are so strong and so powerful in the work that we do. They come together and, meet with the department. In fact, we have a meeting next week, Department of Finance, Legislative Analyst Office. What's the fiscal outlook right now? And how do we help shape our both budget priorities and our legislative priorities? So when we talk about taking a support position or an oppose unless amended position, those positions are decided by our legislative committee. And then we just do the work, right, to push out that message. But in general, we, CASBO, and our legislative committee are going to be committed to any bill that can have an impact on a more sustainable budget. We heard a lot of one-time dollars in this last round. So when those dollars run out, those programs run out, right? Or the dollars run out and the programs try to carry on and they're not sustainable. So sustainability is a principle in all of our advocacy work. Flexible budget, to spend the money as needed in your local community and your local geography. So we really look closely at those mandates that are going to force something. We're really wanting that flexibility at the local level. And then, of course, just, sound policies. There's stuff that overlaps and contradicts with each other. I think we've seen a lot of that. We try to tear that apart. And again, just have a conversation about practicality in our legislative work. So again, just a very important role for us here at CASBO. So I think we've talked about professional development, and I probably can give a couple more things on that, because that's the backbone of what CASBO does. We've got our advocacy, and then just this way for us to connect, right, and support each other in the profession. We've talked about the section events, the advocacy network. We certainly have our annual conference. It's this year in Long Beach, and we are expecting a large group of us to get together, and looking forward to that. We've just formed a technical committee to start working on guides, right? Toolkits for universal meals, and a technical committee that can actually start producing, if you will, actual work products and guides. We've talked about the roundtables. Again, we've got a number of those. I showed you how to get to those. No, I'm going to go back. Hang on. There's one thing there we go. Back to just the educate component really quick here. We have a number of programs, right? We have talked about the on-demand. We're coming back out with our WorkWise Wednesday webinars. Those are hot topics that are kind of happening now. Those are free webinars. They're Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. You'll see those pop up on the calendar. But a really long history of courses, right? Beyond the 1099 closing sort of workshop, we have courses and certifications. The CBO training program, my goodness gracious, we finished a study with West Ed, and we see that 200 of approximately 1,000, 200 CBOs are in the job less than 2 years right now, 100 less than 6 months. So we've got that need to get them up and running and successful, and really making sure we're solid on those dollars and those investments of those public dollars. So new CBOs. And then at the other end of the CBO pipeline, we have about 250 that are ready to retire. And so when we just take that one example, those positions are being filled very quickly from a director of finance. The director of finance is being backfilled by an accounting, right? It is moving fast. So we want to make sure we're putting in the structures. And so our CBO prep program is led by Janie Christakos, and she was a former CBO at San Bernardino, very talented, again, practitioner. And so we have 3 versions, if you will. We have an in-person, we've got a virtual, we have an aspiring CBO, just trying to keep up with, 120 folks going through those programs, trying to keep up with the pace out there in the workforce. So those programs, whether that be CASBO's program, CBO, FICMAT also has a CBO program, and USC. And when folks finish that program, they have about 30 days in which they have the time to then take a CBO exam, a CASBO CBO exam. And once they've passed that exam, they would get their CBO certification. And then going forward, that would be, continuing education units to keep that going. If you are a CBO on the call, I will be very clear, you should get your CBO certification. We have heard whispers at the state, then the pandemic hit, but that there would be a state requirement. So while we will be a part of those conversations, we don't want that done to us. We are actively involved in those conversations, and would be pushing for grandfathering and a lot of other things. Get it now if you can, if you've got the time and the capacity, which I know is very limited. I won't read all of these off, but these are our training and certification programs. And I just met yesterday, with a couple of organizations to sort of refine the human resources one. But our team, led by Tracy Petrillo, on our learning manager, or excuse me, our learning officer, micro certifications, right? Just purchasing 101. These are the 4 courses, and we are cranking through building those for each one of the disciplines. So we've got micro certifications to meet the current need as we build out those larger certifications. So she and her team are very, very actively involved in that. Won't read them all to you because you have all the slides. These are just other resources that are available to you. We're not going to dig into those today, but again, all of this information is on our website. And then finally, here we're in the final stretch here. I think we're making good time. Yes, we are. Okay. As I said at the beginning, we're a member-driven organization, and we really there's the needs are so deep and so wide in business services right now. And so if you have the desire to, to help someone else along, to answer a question, to share one of your superpowers in a presentation, please reach out at this email or either one, either mine directly at Tasha, but count me in at Casbo. And you might just say, hey, I have 4 hours to dedicate on this topic, or hey, I'd really like to get more involved in advocacy. And I'll make sure that we get you to a place where we've got that, mutual exchange of value. It's a great use of your time and certainly helping the organization. I think as we look back in our history in those professional councils, sometimes like to work your way up to the state board and so forth, you got to be in it for 7, 8 years. And that's wonderful. And my goodness, we're so grateful for those that have taken that path. But we also have shorter term needs that many of you on the call with experience, again, it doesn't have to be a technical skill. It might just be, how you've coached or navigated how to do a resume, right? Whatever that topic is, I think we can find, a place for you to contribute. So with that, I'd love to hear from you. Again, in the chat, just what's an interesting aspect that maybe you didn't know before joining this. And if you would like, again, you can email me or pop it in chat. If there's a priority area that we can help you with, we will absolutely do our best. Don't put anything in there like declining enrollment. I'm kidding. We're absolutely working on that. I'm on a task force with the superintendent Thurman, slow moving, I'm not going to lie, but let's hit the waterfall. What was most interesting or helpful and what is a priority? We'll take a quick look at that. And there we go. All right. Oh, good. Judith, yeah, please. Yes, yes. Awesome. And we are in the process of even updating and adding more of those. So you're gonna, really get a lot of value out of what is there. And also, again, if you've got a staff member, share it with them, let them know that that is available to them. All people in your business services, all courses, all yours. Nutrition. Okay. On demand. We need more nutrition. There's a lot happening in that space, isn't there? I believe we have a webinar. I believe Elizabeth and I talked earlier this week about having a child nutrition webinar. You're going to see that coming out within the next 30 days. Stay tuned. All right. Hey, you guys, thank you for being a part of today. Thank you for expanding your knowledge on Casbo. Please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or anyone on my team to give you the support you need. We're so grateful for what you do every day. You're an amazing profession, and I'm happy to be a part of this community. So thank you. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you in our next venue.